Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Destination Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Stoker. Really excited for today's show. We've got a great guest. Her name's Megan Buckbinder, and I'll bring her in just a few minutes. But before I do, I have a topic that I wanted to chat with everybody about. I think if you've been listening to the show for a while, you've probably heard me. I'm on this kick right now that I just can't seem to shake, and that's the fact that I'm really concerned that a lot of destinations have been built for the illusion of relevance as opposed to actual relevance and value to the community. And once I kind of opened my eyes to that, I've seen all these red flags that make me really nervous for where a lot of us are going in the industry. And just to give you a brief kind of taste of what I mean by that, we have really boiled down, because it was helpful in our meetings with our board and things like that, we've boiled down our value to website traffic. And we also have used referral traffic to our partners to talk about our value to our partners. And when traffic was continuously going up and up and up, that was fantastic, right? But then when traffic goes down, all of a sudden it causes some major issues for those who have built their entire value proposition to their stakeholders on website traffic specifically. And as I've dug into that, one of the things that I'm really concerned about is I think there's a lot of destination marketers that don't truly understand the difference between capturing demand and creating demand. And in order to be a good marketer and to communicate your relevance and value correctly, you have to know the difference. And so today in this monologue, I want to talk about the major distraction that is Google Ads for destination marketing organizations. When you really dig into what Google Ads are, they are a product of the fact that we love to have metrics that we can share with our stakeholders to say, we brought you this much value in the form of web traffic. Well, Google Ads is a great way to capture that web traffic. But there's one really big problem with Google Ads. Google Ads are a result of a search. And what that means is there was already intent of some shape or form. There was already demand when the Google search took place. So when destination marketing organizations run Google Ads, in a lot of cases, they are not creating new demand. They are capturing existing demand. And I think that's a really dangerous place to be, and I'll go through a couple of the reasons that's the case. But I think we've kind of trapped ourselves in this Google death spiral, where it's this it's the drug that we can't get off of, because it's the thing that we can get the traffic with. It's a faucet that you can turn on, you get the traffic, you get the value, and I'm not sure that that's going to be able to continue to tell the same story as time goes on, because now what we're dealing with is a scenario where searches have been captured by a lot of AI platforms, and the percentage of searches taking place in Google is going down significantly, which means if we're spending the same amount on Google, we're likely to have our expenses go up. We're likely to not be able to capture the same amount of demand that we've been capturing before with Google Ads. And I think that's going to be a real cliff, a real problem for destination marketers out there. The other thing that I don't think a lot of those that are running Google Ads are really thinking through is the damage that it actually does to your stakeholders. Because every single stakeholder in your destination is hoping to capture the transaction, right? You've got the lodging partners, you've got the restaurant partners, you've got the attractions, and everybody, when there's demand, everybody wants to capture that demand. When you are buying Google Ads, you are actually driving up the price because it's a bidding process. So you're driving up the price for your stakeholders to capture that demand. And you may capture that demand to your website. Your stakeholders are also running Google Ads because they want to capture it individually. And what if you actually took interest or demand from a stakeholder and transferred it to someone else who's more prominent on your website, and now you're actually competing with those stakeholders who you've been commissioned to serve? And I just think that as we continue to get into all the questions about, wait a second, hold on, what is the DMO's job? When people start to dissect that, and then they start to look at the reports that we're giving, calculated on website traffic, somebody's going to say, wait a second, guys, aren't you just capturing the demand that was already there? Isn't the destination's role to inspire and encourage visitation, to create new demand. Because the reality is, if Google Ads were the answer to the demand problem, would a DMO really need to exist? And I think that's the important question that all of us need to ask, because if the answer was Google Ads, all of our individual stakeholders would just capture that demand on their own. The question is, am I creating additional searches? Am I inspiring people to have intent to come to my destination? That results in additional searches. So the metric that I actually think is more valuable for a DMO to be tracking is number of searches related to the destination, as opposed to number of clicks from the Google Ads that we're running. And with that, I think I'll wrap up my soapbox here, and I want to bring in Megan. Megan, I would love to have you maybe react to the comments that I've had, and what your thoughts are on how we've built our relevance structure with our partners in the DMO space.